Hi, it's Emily from WeveGotEars, and this is the tutorial video for the no-sew bat bow. In this tutorial, you will learn how to make a mini-size bat bow and a full-size bat bow without a sewing machine. You'll also learn how to then turn those bows into hair ties, hair clips, or headbands. As always, there'll be great tips and tricks along the way for crafting in general, and specifically I will be showing you a bonus tip for how you can make a no-sew bat bow with any fabric you want. In this video, I am using patterns that you can download from my website. The downloadable PDFs include the pattern as well as in-depth instructions and illustrations. The link on where to find these pattern files will be in the description below. So if you're ready, grab your pattern, grab your materials, grab your tools, and let's make some no-sew bat bows. The first step is going to be to print your file, or at least print the first page, which has the 1-inch test square and the template on it. When you're printing as a PDF, you'll probably not need to change any of the settings, but just make sure you do select to print at actual size. Because once it's printed out, you'll have this 1-inch test square, which you'll want to measure to make sure it is, in fact, 1 inch. So that means that your templates are going to be the correct scale. Now, as far as materials and tools that you will need for your no-sew bat bow, the fabric material that you use should be firm or stiff, but still bendable. For instance, I have this 10 by 10 sheet of crafting felt, and you can see it has structure, but at the same time, it is still bendable and malleable. So this is like the characteristic that we're looking for in the material that we're using for these bat bows. A similar material that I've used in the past is called PU vinyl, and it comes in glitter, it comes in different textures and lots of different colors, so you can have fun looking at those as well. Another way to add a little bit more creativity to your bat bow is by using an optional little trick that I'm going to show you how to do. For instance, this bat bow has a velvety sheen, and that is because I have taken regular velvet fabric with not a lot of structure, and I've taken some Heat and Bond Light iron-on adhesive, and I have adhered the velvet to a piece of craft felt like this with structure. So you can see velvet on the front, felt on the back, and I will show you how to do that. So if you have in mind using something like velvet, a cotton print, sequins, I'll show you that step as well. As far as the amount of material that you'll need, I'm recommending at least a 7 by 7 inch piece for a full size bow and a 5 by 5 piece for a mini bow. You're also going to need a wire twist tie. Even just like a thin craft wire would work. You're going to need scissors, and if you're like me, you'll need scissors for cutting paper and scissors for cutting fabric. For me, those are two different things. For you, they may not be. Doesn't matter, just need scissors. You're going to need a hot glue gun and hot glue sticks. I always recommend a high temp hot glue gun for all of the projects that I show you. You're also going to need something with which to mark the template onto your fabric or material. I'm willing to bet that there are going to be a lot of bat bows made in black or dark colors, and for that I would recommend something like these fabric marking pencils. They come in colors like white and yellow that actually will show up if you mark on a dark or black fabric, unlike a regular pencil or marker, which you're probably not going to be able to see on a black fabric. And then optionally, if you are wanting something to attach your bat bow to in the end, something like a pair of mouse ears, a headband, a hair tie, or a hair clip, have those items on hand as well. Once we've made our bow, I will quickly go over how to add a hair tie or a hair clip or how to put them onto a headband. Okay, so let's get to work. The very first step is going to be cutting out your templates. And personally, what I would do is just kind of cut the excess off the rest of this page. Keep this material and tool list with the rest of your pattern for future reference. This can all go. Another optional thing that you can do is transfer your paper template to a more stable material so that you have a more longer lasting template that you can use over and over. These templates that I have been using for literal years are made out of really thick cardstock or Bristol board. I also really like using this 2mm craft foam. It is sturdy and durable enough to be a template, but also a lot smoother to cut than a hard piece of paper like cardboard or something like that. So really all you're going to do to make the template is to trace your template and then cut those out as well. Okay, so now these are done, and we have some sturdier templates that are going to last us a bit longer than just paper. The next step would be to trace your bow template onto the material of your choice. So what I'm going to do now is cut this out. If it bothers you at all to see the line, just cut directly inside that line that you just traced. Okay, so the next step is adding some accordion folds. Take your bat and fold it towards you in half one time. Take this part that you're left with, fold that in half but away from you this time. Hold that together as you lift a bit and tuck in the bottom part. And that is where your twist tie comes in. As you're holding your bat pinched together, take your twist tie, slide it right under your thumb, leave maybe about ½ inch sticking out. Place your thumb back on it, keep pinching, bring the rest of it around to the back, and then twist these two ends together, and then cut off the excess here. And then what I do with this little part that's still poking out is I just fold it down toward the bottom. You can kind of just fidget it about a little bit until it looks good to you. And then the next step will be to add the strip in the middle. Now for the middle of the bow strip, you're going to take your same fabric or material or complementary fabric or material and cut out a strip that is about 3/8 inch by about 4 inches. So 3/8 inch wide, 4 inches long. Doesn't have to be exact. The point is the middle of the bow strip will cover up the tie in the middle. So as long as it covers up the tie, that's fine. I've just found that 3/8 of an inch is kind of the magic spot for the mini bow. So what you're going to do is take your bat bow facing you, add a dab of hot glue to the bottom of it, take the end of your middle fabric strip and just place it directly onto that dab of hot glue, making sure it doesn't overlap the front. And once that's secure, you can continue to dab a little bit of hot glue over that twist tie as you roll the strip around in the middle until you reach the place where you began, and you can stop there for now. If you want to add something like a hair tie or a hair clip, I will show you how to do that as well. If you want to add a hair tie to your bow, just thread the hair tie onto the middle bow strip. Situate the hair tie in the middle of the back here. You can even, at this point, secure it with a dot of hot glue on the hair tie, between the hair tie and the back. And then what you're going to do is continue to wrap around one more time, and you're going to do that the same way that you did before by adding little dabs of hot glue along the way as you roll the strip back around one more time. To meet and finish in the back. You want to finish in the back so that you don't have any unfinished business in the front of your bow. So right now you can just clip off any excess, and there you go. You have a hair tie bat bow. So adding a clip to the back of the bow is pretty similar to the hair tie. Again, you're going to take your fabric strip that is about 3/8 inch wide by 4 inches long, and we're going to start in the same way by placing a dot of hot glue on the bottom and pressing that bow strip, the end of the bow strip, right on top of it. The next thing we'll do is take our hair clip, and we're going to add a little dot of glue right in the middle of the back, and take your hair clip the right side down onto the bow, and then also pay attention whether you want your clip facing for a right-handed grip or a left-handed grip. You would simply like flip it around to where, you know, it opens. So now you have it loosely secured to the back of your bow, so you can go ahead and start working with the rest of it. So add a few little dots of glue on top of that twist tie as you wrap the middle strip back around towards the back. But you're going to stop there when you get to the back and you reach the hair clip, because what you're going to do then is, it's easier to turn it upside down at this point. What you're going to do now is open up that hair clip. You're going to add some glue to the inside, and then you're going to take that bow strip underneath and in between onto that glue that you just added. Press down a little bit, and then you can go ahead and close your clip. Be careful not to add too much glue that it seeps out, because you'll then end up just like gluing your clip closed. So now, if necessary, you can add a bit more glue to your clip to make sure it's attached. Normally, for this step, I would use E6000 jewelry or craft glue because it's just super, super durable. But it's no biggie. Felt actually works really well with hot glue. So once you feel like you have that pretty well and secure in the position that you want it, you can then go ahead and close the end of the strip. Some glue on the bottom, fold that strip right over, and you'll want it to end on the bottom before it starts curling back around to the front, because then otherwise you're going to see the kind of the seam on the front of the bow, and you don't want to see that. So you're going to go ahead and clip the excess off at the bottom there, so that when you turn it around, you don't see how that strip is connected. And then you have a bat bow clip. Okay, so for the optional heat and bond iron-on adhesive technique that I showed you earlier, how you can get regular fabrics to behave as stiff fabrics, you will need an iron. And I would normally do this at an ironing board, but I'm just going to use a few sheets of Teflon and stay at this table. So you can buy the Heat and Bond Light iron-on adhesive in little packages like this. This one was $4.20 from my local craft store. I use it so much, I buy it in bolts. So I'm going to use off as my bolt. So for this technique, you're going to need your Heat and Bond laid out on a flat surface, paper side up, so you'll be able to see there's like a side with a sheen to it. There's glue on this side, and then there's a paper side. What I love most about this paper side is you will see you can write and draw on it. So I'm going to do my full-size bat bow in this technique. I'm going to take my bow template and trace it onto the paper side of the Heat and Bond. I want to be careful to leave a rectangle around it, and I don't always draw this rectangle. I am just doing it for instructional purposes now, so that you can see this is about like the amount of space that I would make sure that I have left around my tracing, and I'm going to cut it out on this line, not this line yet. So I'm going to go ahead and trace this onto the paper side of my Heat and Bond. Okay, looks pretty good. And then, as I said, I'm going to cut out around my bat template drawing. Since I'm using this as an ironing board, I'm going to go ahead and lay down a sheet of Teflon. So now I'm going to take my fabric of choice. In this case, I'm going to use this two-way stretch crushed velvet in a black. In this case, it doesn't really matter which way the stretch goes because you're going to stabilize it and it's not going to stretch anyway. So what I like to do is just kind of find like a nice corner, and then you're going to put your Heat and Bond with the bat drawn on it, glue side down this time onto the wrong side of your fabric. So you're applying glue to your fabric basically. You do not want to glue the right side of your fabric. So bat, glue side down on the wrong side of your fabric, and then an iron on low to medium heat is fine, and just do a few passes over with that. If you are worried about your fabric burning or melting or anything like that, you can always take another Teflon sheet, put over top of it, and iron it through that. Parchment paper also works well for this, and you can also use like 100% cotton or linen cloth as well instead of the Teflon. So once you have this nice and ironed down, you want to make sure all your corners are down, nothing is lifting. Then I'm going to take my fabric scissors and just cut right around that paper. And that's just to free this up from the rest of my yardage of fabric. So now I am left with like this bat-sized piece, which I'm going to then take my paper scissors, because technically like I'm still cutting paper when I'm cutting this. And then I am going to cut right along my pencil line from my template that I've drawn on here. You're cutting through the Heat and Bond and as well as the fabric that it is attached to. So what you are left with is a fabric bat template with Heat and Bond glued to the back. And so now what you are going to do is take your stabilizing material and I'm going to peel the paper off of the back of this. And a quick way to do that, rather than trying to get it from the end like a label or a sticker, just tear it a little bit and you're going to have a piece of paper corner that you can just grab and peel the rest of it off. So now you see that you have a velvet bat template and a shiny side, which is glue. So guess what? You are now going to glue your velvet bat and you're going to go glue side down towards felt. So you're gluing it to the felt. You want the glue to be on the felt. In this case, I am definitely going to use my Teflon sheet to iron this down. So this is heat activated glue. It's much like just ironing on an iron-on patch. I have this in place. I'm going to put my Teflon down. I'm going to take my little iron, and this is like, I have this on low, the lowest setting of the three that this one has. On your iron, you know, if you can use any iron, like a standard like clothing iron, I would use a lower setting, like for synthetic materials, or sometimes it'll be like for polyester materials, because you know this is a synthetic material. The velvet, it will melt at high temperatures. So now that you have this all pressed down, oops, see there's a little corner there. I need to go back and make sure that is pressed down. Check it out, looks good. So now that I have this all pressed down, the next step is to cut out my bat. And since I no longer have any drawn like pencil or chalk guidelines, I'm using the top fabric as a guideline. So you can see here, there's not really much of a color difference, but there's a sheen difference. So you're basically cutting your velvet bat shape out of the felt. And then there you go. You have a pretty firm and stiff black velvet bat. I've also used this technique with glitz sequins like these, and it looks really cute. Just be aware that a lot of the times you can see these sequins are sewn onto a netted fabric, so they're kind of see-through, right? So it does matter what color felt you put underneath it sometimes. So if I want a fully black bat, I'm going to want black felt underneath it. You can get some like different and interesting effects by putting different colors underneath your sequins. So we have here our velvet bat, and since we're going to basically follow the same steps that we did last time, we know that we also need the middle bow strip. Sometimes you'll be able to take what is left over here. In this case there is, because of the way that I cut it with some space around it, so keep that in mind if you want to save yourself a little step, because what we can do right now, we can just cut our middle strip right from here. So in the case of the full-size bat bow, we want our middle strip to be about 5/8 of an inch by about 6.5 inches. So it looks like here I do have enough to cut out that size of rectangle for the middle. There's also a template in the pattern file for these bow strips that shows you the actual size, and oh my god, I just realized what I just did. I cut this on top of my Teflon. Luckily, it didn't really do that much damage. So I'm going to take that away. And then for the rest of it, I'm just going to trim just right inside the edge of this paper. And now I have a middle strip of a good size for my full-size bat bow. So we're going to follow the same steps with this as we did before, and peel off the paper and iron it onto a stabilizing material. And again, cut around that velvet fabric. Now, similarly to the mini bat bow, we're going to do some accordion folds on this, but since this one is a bit larger, we're just going to do more folds. And this is how I like to start with the full-size bat bow. Gonna take and fold in half, so meaning where the divot here like meets this straight line here, folding in half. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back, forth, back. And then in this case, we're going to take this, keep this pinched, flip it over, and then we're going to go back, forward, and back with this one last little tab here. You will need your wire twist tie, hold it pinched, give about ½ inch or so hanging over the back, replace your thumb, hold it pinched again as you roll the wire tie around to where the other end is also in the back. And then you take them both together, pinch them in hand, and then just twist. And then we are going to cut off the excess tie here, and the part that's sticking out, we're going to bend that down. So same as before, bat bow, middle strip, dab of hot glue here, end of strip, right on top of that, not overlapping in the front. And then we're going to continue to roll that around. Till it meets itself in the back. And if you didn't watch the first time through and you want to see how I did the hair tie and the hair clip, I have chapter markers for those two things in the description. So you can just go find those, click that, and go back to the part where I explain how to add the hair tie and the hair clip. But for the full-size bow, like I said, I want to show you how to put it on a headband. Maybe you're putting it on a pair of ears that you already have that don't have a bow. I personally feel like this would work really great on those park ears that are just black sequin with no bow, if they still even have those. I don't know. Way back in the day I got some and I took the bow off. So I had just some plain black sequin ears. If you made a black sequin bat bow, that would look really cute. Or sometimes I just put them on a headband without ears because we are not always at Disneyland or Disney World. And sometimes we just want to wear a little bit of Halloween. So what I have here is a ½ inch headband that's lined with this same black velvet that I just used to make the bow from. I have a video on wrapping the perfect headband for your WeveGotEars ears and bat bow headbands. So if you want to give that a look, you can see how to make a perfect headband if you don't already have one. You can also put it on something like this, which is just like just came this way. That's fine too, whatever. I'm just going to use this one. So I'm going to show you how to fix a bow permanently, which is what you might want to do if you're just putting it in the middle of a set of ears. This doesn't need to move. It doesn't really matter. You don't want it to. However, sometimes it's kind of fun to be able to take your accessories off of your headband and you can thread them back on your headband like such. And then you can kind of move it from side to side. Like say you want a quirky little bat on the side of your head, or you want it in the middle of your head, or you want it on this side of your head. You can slide it around. This is my favorite way if I'm just putting it on a headband. Other people tend to agree with this as well. They love the movable bow. So we'll go over how you would make this a movable bow. So you're going to take your bat bow, the front side facing you with the tail sticking out back away from you, and your headband, and you're going to just thread this tail through the headband. Hold the headband like this, just right under that tail. So what you're going to do is you're thinking like, where do I want my bat to sit once this is finished? Right here, right? You don't want to leave too much room here because then your bat's going to be floppy down. You don't want it to be too tight here because you're not going to be able to loop this around enough. So just leave like 1/4 of an inch right there. And this is how you want the bow just sitting straight up on your head. So there we go. That's the first step. We have it placed. What you're going to do next is fold this strip back towards you. Lay it down on the headband. Hold it with your thumb. And then you're going to let this bow part just kind of hang there, right? Sometimes even push it out of the way of the bow. So really, you're holding this spot is what you're doing. And then what you want to do next is pull this back toward you. Pull the tail back toward you. Place it down onto the inside of the headband, but do not glue it to the inside of the headband because you don't want to glue this to the headband at all. You want to glue it to itself so it will move around. So once you have that in the place that you need it to be, you are going to clip off the excess from the tail right near the headband. So that's gone, right? So our next step is just to glue the rest of this tail, loop it back over and glue it onto itself. So very importantly, if you want this to move, do not glue it to the headband, glue it to itself. Glue it to the piece of the tail that is now placed in the middle of the headband. So I'm going to put some glue there. I'm going to take my whole bow, thread it back through, wrap it around, press down and making sure that we have that connected there where the glue is. So you have some glue on this part to secure it. And then the final step being that you can see it's still like loose on this side. What you want to do is put a little bit of glue here in this crease, this crevasse, not too much. We don't want seepage. And then just press it down onto itself. So now this velvet strip is just glued to itself. It's not glued to the headband. And once that's dry, you can slide your bow back and forth. You can even take it all the way off your headband. So say you wanted a purple headband with a black bow on it, you can just change it up. And obviously you can do the same thing with the mini bow. You can put on a headband or a pair of ears. And if you wanted to add your bat bow to a pair of ears, obviously you don't need it to be movable. So you can use the same technique, but you glue the bow to the headband instead of just to itself. So say, for instance, if this was your pair of ears and you wanted to glue the bat bow to the middle of them, you would follow the same technique as before, but what you would do when you fold this part over is you just go ahead and glue that straight to the headband. Fold that part over, glue to the headband, let your bow drop a little bit, and then continue to the back side. You can put some glue here, glue that down to the headband, trim off your excess there, and then pull the bow back around. And this time you would do the same thing, like you would just continue to glue the bow strip to itself until you reached back at the top. And then you would have a bow that stood in place. And then there's like tons of fun things you can do after that. Like you can see on this one, I put some black glitter paint on it, and I did the same with this one. So this is just a felt bow, same as this. I just painted it with some black glitter paint and let that dry before I put the bow together. All right, how fun. We now have so many bat bows. So play around with it. Come back to this video, come back to this pattern, make a clip, make a hair tie, make a headband, make them all. Now these are obviously perfect for Halloween, but I have a few friends that would wear these all year round. So apparently there's just not a bad time to put a bat on your head. I hope you had fun making your bat bow. I hope you continue to follow along with my patterns and tutorials. As always, you can find them on my website, WeveGotEars.com, and all the info will be in the description for this video, along with links to purchase all the materials and tools that I use while making my ears and bats. All right, see you next time.